All right. Hello, kiddos and culinarians. I am working on one of our recipes from the King Arthur webpage of what to do with your discard sourdough starter. So this is a sourdough chocolate cake, which I found very intriguing. Chocolate and acidity play really well. And this looks pretty low maintenance and time-wise. I mean, you're done. It's not a lot of hands-on, so it's like 15 minutes of hands-on prep. And that seems to be accurate so far. So here's what's up. Okay, so I already did one step ahead. I got this guy. This is the 1 cup of ripe starter from overnight, or discard. You can do either one. So this is like the stuff that's a little expired. You add milk and 2 cups of flour, all purpose on this one, and then you let it hang out for 2 to 3 hours. This has been hanging out for like 2 hours, and it is starting to rise a little bit. It doesn't need to get bubbly like a starter does. No one's talking to you right now. Your time is done. And I've got our mise en place for the rest of the action going on. I'll show you that in a second. But before we do anything, we need to be ready to pop this right in the oven. One of the things that'll give you success in your cakes or anything where you like a nice tender texture is you want to minimize how long from mixing to baking. Because once product is baked, you don't have to worry about stuff getting tough or overly chewy. And my concern with this cake is that, you know, you've got this chunk of flour that has been sitting hydrated and gluten has been developing over time, because that just happens. So I want to minimize that. So first things first, I'm going to preheat my oven. Looks like we're going at 350, and I'm going to show you how to line and grease this pan. Bake 350. You don't want to have your cake dough sitting and waiting and like having issues while you struggle with this part. So one of the things that will make your life easier here is having a little bit of parchment. It doesn't say to line it with parchment, but experience has told me you want some parchment. Like, you definitely do. And I kind of go ham on stuff. You can butter a couple or grease a couple of ways. You can choose to spray. You can go with butter, which tastes better. I'll go ahead and do spray on this one just for the sake of this, but I want this to set down in. This recipe calls for 9 by 13. I don't want to have a bunch of like weird edges. So if you set this down in here, go in, give it a little snip. It will pretty naturally want to fold over on itself, which is handy. It's still not super stable, but hold on. I'm gonna show you a thing. Boop. Okay, so in order to keep that in place, and also to extra ensure that we are not gonna have problems with sticking, I'm gonna do a light coat under there. This will allow our paper to really adhere, and we can make sure that it's going to lay flat because it will stick a little bit just from that extra grease. And then also that way, if any batter gets underneath, you don't have a nightmare to clean. Chocolate cake should not be nightmare inducing. Chocolate cake should be a joy. And we shall see. This seems pretty approachable, so I'm curious to see how this turns out. All right, so make sure when you spray, get down to the bottom, get the sides. If that's not holding and sticking to itself, go in there like that. Don't go crazy ham because you don't want your cake to be greasy, but it is worth the time investment on that. Okay, that is lined. We are ready to go. I'm gonna get this out of the way. And we're gonna mix this cake, yo. And it says in a separate bowl, beat together the sugar, oil, vanilla, salt, baking soda, cocoa, and espresso powder. My inclination to make sure we don't have lumps is to sift the cocoa powder. I'm gonna do it because I'm neurotic and you can only make me follow a recipe exactly so much before I revolt. I need to get these lumps out. I can't emotionally handle it. I need to. I just, okay, so. Cocoa powder, fantastic. Oh, I feel so much better. The lumps are gone, okay. Whew, my emotional safety is ensured. Everything else I feel totally fine just dumping in this bowl, man. So we got a cup and a half of sugar. This is espresso powder, or it's Starbucks Via Instant, which is essentially espresso powder. That's what I did. This is vanilla extract. This is our baking soda. Let me just make sure that goes in at the same time. It does. And I just wanted to show you a thing that I do here. Does the oil go in also? It does. You got oil. Whenever you see a recipe that says vegetable oil, it just means any of the neutral flavored oils that don't have a really distinct sensibility on their own. So don't be disheartened if you can't find vegetable oil. I see students get stressed out over that all the time. So for example, under the umbrella of vegetable oil is canola oil, corn oil, safflower oil. Those are all absolutely fine. So here's the thing that I do with my vanilla extract. Vanilla has a lot of stuff going on with it internationally as a market, and I use vanilla beans fairly often, and they get dry pretty quick. I always buy these large containers of vanilla, and I store my vanilla beans inside of my vanilla container because look how nice and plump that is. It keeps it hydrated so it doesn't dry out, and it'll be easy to incorporate into my recipes. The alcohol helps to preserve the vanilla bean. It enriches the flavor of my vanilla extract as I go. Okay, into the mixer we go. This feels like a paddle attachment kind of moment. And I don't think y'all can see what's going on in there. All right, we're not looking to go crazy on this. All we want to do is mix it to combine. Scrape down. So, tip for everyone who's using a mixer, you can totally do this by hand. I don't feel like this is a stand mixer necessary kind of recipe, but make sure you're getting down and underneath and turning things over. Because if you have stuff that sticks to the side of your bowl, it can really mess with your process. Especially with stuff that has you add things a little at a time. That's because you have different densities, different textures. It's important that you not overwhelm adding stuff in and having lumps or things that don't get distributed well. I'm gonna add a couple of eggs from my girl Martha. That's one of my older hens. And we wanna add one egg at a time. And we kind of take it slow. They kind of wanna go on their own. It says beat well after each addition, so I'm gonna pop that baby up to medium speed. Give it a scrape all the way down and underneath. If you get stuff stuck on your spatula, you can always scrape it off on the bottom edge there. So, gently combine the chocolate mixture with the starter flour milk mixture, stirring until smooth. This will be a gloppy process at first. But the batter will smooth out as you continue to beat gently. So, keeps talking about gentle. So, that is the stir setting. I'm just going to take it up to 1 above that. I got to tell you, the starter looks really nice. Some good bubbles in there. All right. that looks like a mess. Sometimes baking is like that, so I'm not gonna stress. I swear, I'm a professional. Okay, there we go. Last of this. Alright, I gotta stop this and get this blob of sourdough off of there because that cannot stand. Get it? Because it's a stand mixer? Like 3 of you laughed really hard just now. Thank you for that. Yep, this is how I am in class too. You can feel sorry for my students later. First we have chocolate cake to make. This looks pretty nice. So here's the deal. My fears that this will be a very tough and chewy cake are based on the fact that I talked about with gluten development. Once flour sits with water, it gets tougher and tougher and tougher no matter what you do. However, one of the things is about sourdough is that acidity softens starches and creates more tender textures. So maybe that will offset all of that extra gluten development? I don't know. Because there's a lot of other softening agents in here, like butter and eggs and oil. Or not butter, but eggs and oil. Fats also tenderize things, so you know what? We're gonna find out. All right, boy howdy, let's do this. Scoot your back. Our pan is prepared. Our oven is preheated. All signs are go. Can we see all that? Alrighty, here we go. So my preferred technique to spend as little time scraping out as possible is to go top down. Push everything down to that center. And then I don't have to go over the same area a bunch of times. Smells really good. That espresso extract or powder really comes through. Oof, I'm feeling anxious over the stickiness of this, but I'm gonna be cool. We'll be cool. I definitely did not just eat that raw batter, but it might have tasted good. So into the oven we go, and we will see where we are at in a little bit. Bye. Oh yeah. I know, my oven's dirty. Shame, shame. Oh yeah, she's done. Look how much that sucker rose. Oh my gosh, I can't. All right, butter melted. I didn't have yogurt or buttermilk, but I did have milk and sour cream, so we're gonna do that. Should give us a similar thing because it just needs a cultured dairy product. Whisking this in with the heat off. This is an espresso icing. Oh, what's that? Cheesy bread? No big deal. Oh, deep dish skillet pizza and bagel dough. Cool, 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 cool. All right, so I need to make sure I get every bit of that in there. All right. That is espresso powder that just got hydrated a little bit with some water. Then we bring this over here. Oh, I do need helpers. Can you pour that in? Or yeah. Ooh. Thanks, babe. Mm-hmm. All right, I need the whisk in the bowl. Pot in the sink. Thank you. He's so sweet. Oh yeah, this is not effective. But you get the idea. I'll come back when I have the icing ready for the cake. All right, on the icing goes. Gosh, this seems like a lot of icing. Not bad, but ooh, cute. quite a lot of icing, actually. I thought, dang, King Arthur doesn't play. Let's make it swoopy. Ooh, fun. Also satisfying. Okay. All right, let this set a bit and then I'll put chocolate stuff on it later. All right, you didn't fail me, I don't think. Chocolate cake, we're gonna find out. Looks pretty yummy. We'll see. I mean, yeah, man. It is moist. Here. Look. Really soft. I didn't think this would work, but it did.